G'day, doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the podcast episode 42. Hopefully we've got a good connection tonight. It's looking okay at the moment. We'll progress. Not sure how many people are ready to go live. The team come through. There was no changes. And let's put that side up. We're also going to look at New South Wales Origin side today. Sorry, my camera's on a different side. And it's messing with me. So I'm going to put out my Origin side for 2024 Game 1. Although Gus doesn't want people doing that, I'm going to do it anyway. We'll also look at the New South Wales Cup team that'll play the Blacktown Seagulls on the weekend. Obviously going to Brisbane for Magic Round, they need to take a pretty full squad in case there's injuries. So the players that go, you wouldn't expect them to be playing in New South Wales Cup, I don't think. Just have to check it all out. So g'day to anyone who joins today. Say hello. Not expecting too many people to jump on tonight. Couldn't get on earlier. Was hoping to have Dane on tonight, but he's actually called in sick. So I've got some comments up. Oh, here he is, Mark O'Connell. Well, he'll make the place interesting. I should send you do you want a link, Mark? You can put your head up on the come join the show. Let us know, mate. I'll send you a link if you want to join. Actually, I'll just invite you. How does that sound? I'll send you an invite, mate. Where are you? Let me find you, Mark. We'll get your head up here if you want to come on. You can even put an avatar if you don't want to show your head. Where is he? Oh, God. My computer doesn't work that good. Oh, you're driving the bus. No worries, mate. Well, anyway, I've got our team scrolling across. No changes after the loss on the weekend. I haven't heard much from you, Mark, in regards to the stats don't lie. So it'll be interesting to hear anything you've got to say. Hello, everyone who's joined. Say hello. Come have a chat. I'm going to give you my New South Wales Origin team. I'm not looking at the camera again. So I'll be looking at the New South Wales Origin side. I've put a few Bulldogs in there. You know, selfishly, we probably don't want anyone to get picked, but it's actually good for them and it's good for the club. Attracts more players and that sort of stuff. New South Wales Cup team really starting to hit their straps now as well. But let's talk about Canterbury versus Penrith. I think a lot of fans were happy with the closeness of the scoreline, the fact that we stayed in the fight. There's a lot of errors in the game. It was wet weather football. The first 20 minutes I really enjoyed of the contest. I felt the ref did a good job in the first 20 minutes. He just let them play. It was a fast, tough, and it's the style of game where Penrith, when you play that game against Penrith, you usually lose because it's like two people just going punch, and eventually they just win the day. But we showed that, if a couple of those passes stick and Fox scores in the corner, I know they're if, buts and maybes, but we get a few of those tries. What was the line break? 7-3. So there's some stuff really working with the Bulldogs with the way they're doing it, but they're creating opportunities, and that's, to me, when people are saying they're attacked, I don't know, it's so retrospective the way people talk, I find. it's just like this dumbed down. It's just everything's dumbed down with the way the commentators go about it. And then I just find people are regurgitating parrots at the end of the day. And that's all I am as well. But it disappoints me a little bit while I'm on my high horse. But I just find that, when people come out and say that our attack was bad because we scored 10 points, our attack was good. We just didn't execute. You know what I mean? We created the opportunities. The strategy around the attack was good. And, it was just one of those games where it was tough. Dissident. G'day, mate. Bulldogs versus Raiders is the battle for 8th. And if Manly goes down, we move to 7th. Yep, I analysed that as well. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, the way the buys work, Manly haven't had a buy yet. The Raiders have. We have. Actually, Raiders are playing us. Got a 6-day turnaround after they've had the bye. So, against West was the first game this year we had the longer turnaround into the game. Last year they had us play a 5-day turnaround in the Magic Round, which was horrible. 6 days, it's obviously not perfect, but it's no excuses. It's going to be a game we're going to have to be switched on. Last year, from the first set, they made, I think, they were doing an attacking kick onto our goal line. We dropped the ball and they scored off their opening set. We lost 34-30, and I think that end scoreline hid a lot of stuff that was about to happen to our side. This is where it all went to shit last year. And I just don't think we'll see that same issues. Corey Horsburgh, on his first or second hit up, ran at Marnie in the line, who was isolated after probably the third hit up of the match or the fourth play. And he made 25 metres post contact before the others could shut him down. So Canterbury have improved a hell of a lot in that regard. And that means that we're going to do, I feel that we have gone from conceding the most to actually being number one for what we're conceding per average set. We're the best team in the comp as of last week. Now, for that first 20 minutes, we were making more per set, and we actually averaged more per set than the Panthers did throughout the whole game. Now, that's unheard of, and that's from this small ball that they're talking about. Picking all these young players. So one of Mark's favourites, Bailey Haywood, has maintained his place in the side, and that try he scored against the Knights, where he didn't give up on the play and scored a try. His defensive work in the middle is so much improved. He's a lot fitter and he's handling the contact. I think there will come a point, though, where he starts to feel the pinch, and I was seeing signs of that. But they kept him out there a long time. He kept Kurt Mann off the field for quite a while. You know what I mean? They're putting him under the acid test, and I think they're deciding whether they're going to, offer this kid a longer term, like a long-term top 30 contract. Because there's a few decisions to make around these guys that can play half, that can play 9, that can play small lock. They've really got a lot of headaches in that department, and they're playing a style of football which suits having these smaller guys in the team. And if you really go and watch their defence, like there's times where they're missing tackles and stuff, and I get that, but there's constant scramble, there's very rarely misreads in defence. I can count on one hand the amount of misreads our first grade team has made in the season. Now, a few have led to tries. I think there was 1 or 2 in the Cronulla game, and there's been a couple of points where they've had a misread there. But most of the other times it's been, the teams have got a roll on or whatever. Some of the tries have appeared soft. Like even the Penrith tries on the weekend were a little bit you know, it's like their weakest player. Luke Garner, in my opinion, is their weakest player in their forward pack and probably their team. And he was one of their best players on the weekend. You know, and the try he scored, I still didn't see him get it down. But he probably, you know, we need to stop that try. And the other one with Brian Toto, like, look, we've been defended multiple sets. The ref had given them a lot of leg ups over that period of time. Nathan sort of earned that, I guess, with the kicking game, if you look at it that way. And then that try they got was a bit sloppy, you know. And Brian Toto is just one of the best players in the competition. Any club would do well with him in their side. He's an absolute goer. And we've got a few in our team that are almost as good, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's just so hard to stop. You know, he was probably the hardest player to stop all night for Canterbury. We handled their big men way better than we handled Brian Toto. He determinedly got through the line. And that's what I liked about Critter, to be honest. Every run he had, he kept his legs pumping. And he really good contact into the defensive line. The Fox had some good acceleration in the defensive line as well. And all the backs, obviously Jacob Carraz had plenty of meters, did a heap of work. Connor Tracy, coming back from injury, also did well, and he's retained his spot. So there we go. As I said, it's an unchanged lineup. The reserves for our first grade side, we've got Poasa from Vasili. He's looked good in New South Wales Cup, I must say. He's a first grader, this guy. Blake Taff at 20, Turpin 21, Sexton at 22, and Blake Wilson at 23. So they'll be the guys who travel down to Magic Round. We're a bit light on there in forwards. So outside of Poasa, they're all backs. I think this game is sort of bordering on being another very close-knit game. First game at Suncorp, there should be a little bit of moisture in the track. It's been dry the last couple of days, but there will be some rain beforehand, and hopefully the rain would have stopped by Friday night. But I'm confident we can beat the Raiders. Still a good side. Danny Levi's playing all right, but I think this Clarkey on Facebook said that he had him in the higher echelon of hookers over Reed Marnie, which I just think is absolutely ridiculous. Reed's almost back to his best form. Still not there, but he's almost there. And I think, you know, if there's an injury to Harry Grant or an injury to Ben Hunt, I think their first point of call might be to go to Tom Deard and bring him in to play that role off the bench and start the other one. But I think Reed Marnie would be next up out of that based on what I'm seeing. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I think. But we need all our players at the moment. So there you go. Just going to put on the New South Wales Cup side. So we've got Joash Papali, Gerald Skelton, Hayes Perham, Eli Clark, William Afualo gets another chance in first grade, Joey O'Neill and Cody Fuzz. They did a great job on the week. Well, Cody did a great job on the weekend. Liam Knight, Romano Cook, who's been fantastic. Tedavano starts. Samrani starts with Harry Hayes. Lipboy Hotboy to lock. Ruben Moyle gets a chance with Reece Hoffman, Luke Smith back in the side, and Jack Underhill made his debut in New South Wales Cup, and Elijah Matale, the 18th man. So they're playing the Seagulls, who are a better side than they've been in recent years, but they're still not, you know, they're not that top echelon of teams. Whoever's been coming up has been doing the job. The defense has got better and better as the year's gone on. That win over the Panthers was sensational. to lose Katoga for he's now out, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks because he attacked the leg of the kicker, was sent off sin bin within 2 minutes, and Toby got sin bin for repeated infringements. There were 2, which I found to be ridiculous. We're down to 11 men, held them out, and then went up by 18 points to 0, 18-6 at half time, got back to 18-12 before we ran away with it. It was a great victory by the guys, and I was really impressed by the forward pack, to be honest. Poasa, Liam Knight, Katoni Katoga, they all did a fantastic job. And young Jack Underhill in his first game looks like a cross between, the Booper brothers. This blonde-haired forward. There's not too many of them around. And he did a good job. Lipboy Hotboy made plenty of meters as well. I find that Romano Cook, when he comes on the field, good stuff happens. Turpin had a nice game. They all played well. It was well shared across the park. Perham had a really good try assist there for Blake Wilson. There's the flick pass. It was fantastic. Wilson still had a bit of work to do as well. He warmed into the game. I felt he was a bit off the pace early, but got right into it and got into his work and ended up having a good game. Gerald was smashing him again, and Joash was played a really good game from the back. Got a nice try assist for Gerald in the corner in that first half. So, yeah, I was really happy with that performance, as would have many of Dogs fans been. The Jersey Flag side, which has obviously been, it's probably got a few SG ball players come up into it. It's doing well. It beat the Panthers by 10 points to 0, so real tough performance. And both sides are sitting comfortably at second on the ladder, with Jersey Flag a game in hand because one game was washed out. So yes, not really heard much as far as the comments are going. If anyone's got any comments they want to put on there, let us know. If you're watching this after the live stream, tell us your New South Wales team that you would pick based on who's available at the moment. Jack Whiten's ruled himself out again, although he never really ruled himself back in. That was just media speculation, I think. But I'll put my team up now. Might as well. So let's have a look at it. I've gone Dylan Edwards at fullback, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, Bradman Best, Jacob Kiraz. It won't happen, but I've picked it. Nico Hines, Mitchell Moses, Payne Huss, Api Coruscant, Stefano Atikamanu, Olakoatu, Martin, Yo, Cameron McGuinness on the bench with Josh Curran, Spencer Lanu, and Matt Burton with the 18th man, Katoni Staggs. I know I picked 4 Bulldogs in that side, and look, it was a real hard team to pick as usual for the Blues. Mitchell Moses should be coming back this week or next week. We'll see. You've got to have Payne Huss in the side. The other front row is always hard. I've left out Junior Paulo. I've left out Regan Campbell-Gillard. I think it's time to move on. If anything, if that sparks them up to play good and earn their way back in if there's an injury, so be it. But I just find that they've been a little bit disappointing at this level, more so. Like Junior's had some good games, but I don't know. It's not through. I don't think it's an effort thing. I just don't think he's just not as effective. Now, one thing we've got to learn as New South Wales fans is that the Penrith style doesn't really work. And I know I've picked a lot of Penrith players again. Dylan Edwards, Brian To'o, Martin, Isaiah Yeo, an old player, Crichton, who used to play for him. Spencer Lenu, who used to play for them. And I was almost considering, and people probably laugh at this one, Mitch Kenny. because I've found that his defence he's been probably the hardest hitter in that Panthers side. He's been smashing blokes all season, and I think he might be cut out for something like that. He's not a bad player. He's the same age as Stephen Crichton, Matt Burton. He came through in that team. That was the 2018 SG Ball slide, which beat the Bulldogs. They all came through that together. Olakau'atu, I think, offers a lot. I couldn't pick any South players this year, although, if Latrell Mitchell's in the side, I agree with the likes of Matty Johns, who have said that that's a player that Queensland hope doesn't get picked. I don't think they're too scared of anyone. I like what Bradman Best did last year, and I think this year he's been pretty good. Critters is there. He's just a steady, solid player. Carraz is going to make your meters. He won't be picked, though. It'll either be the Fox or it could be young Suali'i from the Roosters before he goes off to rugby union. And to people who talk about Queensland, Brad Thorne played for Queensland and then went, and he told him he was going to the All Blacks. And then if he came back and played rugby league again, which I'm not sure if he did or not, they'd pick him again. They wouldn't give a shit. They'd pick him for Queensland. They picked him for Queensland when he went and played for New Zealand. They don't care. It's like Tony Carroll played for New Zealand. They're still happy to pick him for Queensland. If someone changed, they wouldn't give two shits if they changed or were going to change. They just pick the team that they want to win. And I think that's what New South Wales has to do. They probably won't drop Teddy either, but I would. I just think it's time for Dylan Edwards to get his shot. So there you go. That's a team. I've picked Josh Curran. I think Josh Curran should be picked on form 100%. I like what Cameron McGuinness does. I think his leg speed as the lock has been fantastic. He does a lot of those tackle four runs, which we see a lot of fullbacks do. So the runs that you'd see like an Edwards or a Tedesco do, Cameron McGuinness does that for Cronulla when he comes on. And I've seen for Canterbury, we've used a few different players. We use Kurt Mann do that often. Drew Hutchison's been doing it. And sometimes the fullback will do it as well. They sort of share it around. But in Penrith, it's always Dylan Edwards. First hit up. He's averaging 1.5 hit ups per set over the game, which is phenomenal sometimes. So I think he deserves his shot. I think he's the best player in the fullback in the comp, one of the best players in the comp. Nico Hines, do we put Burton there or Hines? I think Hines probably deserves it. I think they complement each other well. But Nico and Mitchell both play on the right. So that might not work for that. They probably want to go with a Matty Burton and put either Nico or Moses on the bench or at 18th man. But I just think on form they're the best too, but I'd probably go a left-footed kicker on the left or a natural left-sided player. But some players handle it both sides without an issue. I've seen Nico play fullback, so he's sweeping down the left and the right when he's doing that. He's made plenty of breaks up the left playing from fullback, I can tell you that much. So that's pretty much all I've got. There's not too many people on tonight. But if you want, put your Origin team in the comments. I'll be happy to give some merch away if someone gets the team. Still haven't given away the merch from the first two comps. The first guy, Mr. It's Me, used to turn up all the time. I think he said he didn't want to win anything, but I haven't seen him for a long time. And there was also, the next comp, nobody got it. So it's all right, still there, waiting to be given away. So let us know what you think. But we're gone for 25 minutes. There's not much to talk about. The dogs are doing all right. I suppose we could finish this off by talking about what changes we expect to see. Well, the reason I think Josh Curran will be picked for New South Wales is because I just have this feeling in my gut that Gus has some knowledge of players that managers looking at, and when he was sort of suggesting that Jack Todd will be making his debut in the next few weeks, that sort of hinted to me that he knew that there would be players picked from Canterbury in Origin, or that's just my hunch, putting two and two together. So, he's obviously broken his hand now, so he'll be out for 7 or 8 weeks or something. As far as other players coming in, if we were to lose to the Raiders and then lose to the Dragons, or our form was to drop off, well, there you go, Mark. I've just said I've just started talking about this. When a player's going to get their chance? Well, I don't think you can promote anyone at the moment until we start losing some games. But I do have a feeling there might be a move to rest some players and rotate some players at this point. So I think we may see something. Look, if we lost games against Newcastle or against Wests, I think we would have seen Toby come into the fold. I have no doubt about that. And maybe Powasa come in and a forward drop out. He's promoted young Hayward, and Hayward's kept his spot, which is fantastic for him. He may lose it this week. We don't know. Blake Taff isn't sort of named in the 17 anywhere this week. It's always a risk carrying that bench which is already light to then carry someone who's super light. But really, are they going to bring us anything out of that? G'day, Paulie. We outplayed Penrith. They just have the runs of the board, so managed to win. That performance was as good as a win for us. Well, Paulie, I can sort of agree with that as well, mate. I feel that we're look, I felt that we had our opportunities, and there was periods where we dominated the Panthers, and that's a really good thing for our club. We played semi-final footy for long periods. Yeah, I do believe we did that. Our execution, though, wasn't there to a point where we were unable to sort of get close enough. We're down, 12-0, then 16-0. Looked like we're keen to stay in the pocket with them and trade blows, and we kept coming for 80. It was outstanding. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And most, as I said at the start of this podcast, Paulie, most teams that do that with Penrith lose. And at the end of the day, we still lost. And Nathan Cleary was the difference between the two sides. If he swapped teams in that game, I don't think there's too many halves that if he came onto our team in that game, that probably would have been enough for us to go in with a lead, the way he managed it. I felt there was some really good moments for our halves in that game as well, where they showed some good management as well. But the first 20 was phenomenal from both sides. It was just a real punch up. And Penrith love that. And Canterbury want to be a team that loves that as well. You can see that's what they're trying to build. You can see that's what they want to be. A team that just goes in there, can trade blows, and manage itself from there. And every game these guys get, they are getting better. They are. Bronson Cherry's improving every game. Jacob Carraz is getting his confidence back. The forwards are feeling confident. The team is confident. Really, they should be going out against Canberra and playing that side as if their opposition are Wests, their opposition are Newcastle in those matches. And hopefully we see another performance where we're not really in trouble. Even if we're behind, we know that we can get it back, you know what I mean? But if they're flat at all, as they have been the last two Magic rounds, Canberra are going to make them pay. And that's my only worry. Has that flattened us a little bit from the effort we put in? Could have easily been a doggies win 18-10 or something. Yeah, well, you look, if we get a couple of those tries, I still don't think that. I think the Carraz one where he was sort of fell down on his back, where they already had hands on him in the air. To me, he's got the right to throw it if his elbows don't touch the ground, and they didn't. It wasn't a situation where he fell to the ground and then submitted, and then they just put their hands on him and it's held. And that's how they sort of tried to make it out like that. The Fox was just short. There was just a couple of other moments as well, which I think we took the wrong option. You know, we've butchered as many tries as we've scored this year. But the good thing for me is that if you go through our history in the last 5 years, we weren't creating the opportunities. So if we missed those opportunities, we wouldn't get them again. There's so many performances where we're just never in the hunt, and we've been in the hunt in every game this season, bar round one. And even round one, we were still close enough if good enough. You know what I mean? Back to Mark, because he did get in first, and I was sort of talking about that. When is Serrata going to promote some of these form cup players? Well, as I said, he's promoted Bailey Hayward. And you could sit, you know, I think Poasa is there at number 19. Unless we have some losses, if we lose to the Raiders and the Dragons, for example, which are our next two games, then I think we see a Sexton. Then I think we see Poasa come back in. But who to drop? You know, I don't really see anyone in the back line to drop, to be honest. Hutchison's the obvious fan scapegoat. But I just feel that if you really sit there and analyse his performance, you know, he makes more. He's made more tackles than any other halfback in the comp this year. He works his ass off, and when you're making lots of tackles, obviously in that position you're going to miss plenty as well. But sometimes he's rushing up with his line speed, putting on pressure. They step inside, gets a hand on him because he's, you know, and then someone else cleans it up in the line. Like, it's not like he's missing them in the line and they're getting behind him, because that becomes an issue. And that's the issue we've had on our edges, is when we either have a misread or a player burst through our line. And Penrith weren't doing that at all. 3 line breaks they made the whole game. They scored 2 tries. We made 7 and we scored 2. And we had, 2 or 3 disallowed. So, yeah, it's a game we could have won for sure. Was it a game we should have won? That's you know, we didn't win. I think we should have beat Souths. I think we should have beat Melbourne. And I think we should have led Cronulla 18-6. So there. But for next players to come through, as I said, I think it's Poasa. I think Liam Knight's playing really good. You can see any mistake he makes, how much it's you know, he knows it's like, oh, I've just fallen further away from first grade. But he's not turning it up. He just keeps putting in. I felt his passing's been good. He's been copping it. He's been running well through the line. He's too good for reserve grade, as is Poasa. But the good thing is we've got less of these players now that are too good for reserve. We've still got a lot of them, which means we've got good depth, but we've got a lot of juniors now coming through that are getting their time in New South Wales Cup. And that's a really positive thing. And, you know, the pathway isn't blocked. The pathway is simply, you know, I have this issue when people say, and I've had arguments with Mark about it, talk about the pathway being blocked. I felt Bailey Beyondi's Odo's pathway was blocked, because it all comes down to pecking order. Who's in front of you? Hayward's moved ahead. Romano Cook, if you've been watching those New South Wales Cup games, when he's come on as the hooker, team's has improved, have gone better. You know, and he's not ahead of Taff. He's not ahead of Hutchison. and he's not ahead of Joey O'Neill, and he knows who's coming through in Mitch Woods, Alex Conti, and the young fella who played on the week at Cody Fuzz did a fantastic job. His pathway is blocked. He could come out and be a first grader with the Cowboys, hopefully. Or even South Sydney. He might end up playing halfback for South Sydney this year, such as the injuries they've had in their halves. He's playing for Blacktown Workers up there now. He might be their halfback. But good on him. That's because of opportunity. And what you got to ask is if South Sydney had all the halves we've got available, would they pick Bailey before any of them? He might advance ahead of a couple, maybe. I don't know. And I wish him all the best, and I hope he gets a start, and I hope he helps Souths win a few games. And I hate Souths. But Bailey's well loved by Canterbury fans, well loved by the group. You could tell that. And I think your Bulldogs will have a massive place in his heart for a long time, and you never know. You might end up back at the Dogs one day. You just never know. Harrison Edwards, to me, looks like he's still a fringe first grader. Played for the Cowboys last week. Went all right. Come on, off the bench. He's got a 3-year deal. It's bloody fantastic. But who's in his way at Canterbury? Viliami Kickout. I'm not picking Harrison Edwards ahead of Viliami Kickout. Sorry. Pathway's blocked there. There's certain players in certain positions where their pathway is blocked because there's just too many people ahead of him in the pecking order. And for Harrison Edwards, he was one of them. But, they called him up to the Roosters game. He copped that concussion, and he would have done well. And when he gets runs under his belt, he obviously had an interrupted pre-season. He goes all right, young Harrison Edwards. But look, Josh Curran's come to the club. Curtis Moran is establishing himself as a full-time first grader at Canterbury, which is fantastic. And hopefully it's an upgrade to the top 30 for next year. I hope that happens. I don't care how small he is. He plays with heart, plays like a Bulldog. Bloody whataboutisms, mate. Your whataboutisms. Well, Averillo's not going better than Bronson Cherry. Averillo is in a team with a really good forward pack, with a really good coach, with a really good back line. And he's doing exactly what I thought he would do. He's playing well. He's doing what he could do. He's on 450 grand. Bronson Cherry's on 150. It's managing the cap. He got a great deal. It's a great opportunity for him, Mark. One of my favourites. Was his pathway blocked at Canterbury, though? I think this year he might be, Serrato said Averillo is likely to become one of the premier centres in rugby league. And who knows, maybe we're paying 800 grand for this kid in 3 years. Who can play wing, who can play centre, could play 5'8", could play fullback. He fits the mould for a Canterbury player still. But right now, his value to the club, he'd been earning better money than what a kid his age should have been getting. Being someone with some upside and youth with the club. And then 450, when they've got Cherry coming in at 170, they've got Stephen Crichton coming in at 800. And what Stephen Crichton's brought to the side, I think, is strength, resilience, and you can see it in the team. They're playing for him. I saw Jake starting to demonstrate that stuff, but it was all too late. It was too late. He became more of a leader towards the end of the season last year. What? Have I heard he might be moving on from the Finns? What's he coming back to Canterbury, is he? Where's he going? Maybe the Roosters. The Roosters are going to get him. Not sure why he'd be moving on from the Finns, though. Tell me. Mate, stop driving the bus. You could have come on and told us and broke some news for us. Bloody hell. You get your own friggin' part on the show. Live from the fucking bus stop. What? Averillo's going to go to Souths. He's probably got a clause in his fucking contract that he can go with Uncle Wayne. Anyway, I wish you'd message me before I started ranting on. Fucking hell. See, on All Things Bulldogs, you've got Mark O'Connell and Paulie and that. They're going to break you all the news. I'll tell you that much. Well, I'm going to have to bloody Google this now. Jake Averillo to leave the Dolphins. Huh? 2 days ago on Zero Tackle. Let's have a look at it. Let's present it. Surprised there's long contracted Dolphin linked with bombshell exit. The Dolphins might have... Can we see this on here? Yeah. The Dolphins might have only signed Jake Averillo from the Dogs at the end of 2023 season, but now there's already talk he may be set to exit the club. The rumours... he's going to go to the Dragons. Suggests Averillo's name has already been mentioned at other clubs. The competition has sent a merry-go-round. He's since been granted release to join the Parramatta Eels, with Lomax exiting the club at the end of 24. Dragons would simply look to replace from within, given their excess stocks. So Lomax. The report suggests Averillo's name has been mentioned at the Dragons as a potential replacement for Lomax as an increase to the club's centre depth. What remains unclear is whether the Dolphins would consider releasing Averillo from the final 2 years of his contract to make the move back to Sydney. He said during the preseason he enjoyed the move to Redcliffe as he returned from a knee injury as sustained his final game for the Dogs. With plenty of options in the back line, he'll need to continue making big impacts at the NRL level to remain in the first choice back line. He's done just that after missing round 1. He's played 8 games, scoring 4 tries and making an average 107 metres per game with a total of 25 tackle breaks. He's going good. Still, that isn't a guarantee moving forward, given the options of Dolphin 17, Herbie Farnworth, Tessie Newham, Valence Tawere. Averillo can offer more than just playing at centre, but that has clearly become his best position over the past 24 months and where he plays his best rugby league. Scott Pride. Don't know about him, eh? There you go. So, bombshell exit. So basically, there's been a story put in, interest shown from the Dragons. Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't really see. Well, I think he's pretty good mates with Kyle Flanagan. So with Raymond Fatala-Mariner being there, he might be feeling homesick. I'm, again, not looking into the fucking camera. Might be feeling homesick. Who knows? It's all bloody speculation, but yeah, we'll let that one go. But just to double down on that point, we got Bronson Cherry. We've got Gerard Skelton, Blake Wilson. We've got a lot of depth there. Jay Burke, I don't get why people think Edwards over Teddy. Yeah, well, I think Edwards over Teddy because I think Teddy has sort of stifled our attack the last couple of years. I just don't think it's worked with him in Origin. He's still a fantastic bloody player. If they pick him, I'm going to back him. I hope he has the game of his life every time. And I've never come off ever and blamed Tedesco for a loss as a Bulldogs fan and as a New South Wales Origin fan. I just think Dylan Edwards is the more complete player right now, and I just think he's everywhere. And his work rate and speed are superior to Tedesco. And I just think as a fullback, he offers a lot. But look, they may even go with Tedesco at fullback and put Dylan Edwards on the wing as the other winger with To'o, and then have Crichton and Burton in the centres, or Crichton and Bradman Best. I think that's definitely an option as well. I think Tony Staggs is playing well, but what they're looking at is who's going to play for 80 minutes, who are the effort players. That's what I think Madge Maguire is looking at doing. So, yeah. So, Burko, if you want to put up your New South Wales side in the comments, feel free to do so when it's finished. Don't put it here in the chat because the chat disappears, but you can put it in the comments on YouTube. If anyone wants to do that, put up your side and see what happens and see who gets picked. I've picked a few smokies, Jacob Carraz, Josh Curran, although I don't think that should be a smoky, and Burton. I think Spencer Leniu needs to play for Origin. I think he's made for it. I love his energy and aggression, and he plays hard. Anyway, guys, 46 minutes. It's time to go. I think I've said all I can say tonight. Good luck to the Dogs. Hope everyone who's going to Magic Round has a good time. I'm not going this year. Just moved house and that. I just needed a break. So, yes, go the Dogs. Put stuff in the comments. Let us know what you think about stuff. Sorry, Dane couldn't get on tonight. And hopefully we'll get Big Mark on. Or if anyone wants to be a part of the show, let us know. I'm happy to send you a link and catch up and talk about how long you've supported the Bulldogs or whatever, and what your thoughts are on different things. But one thing I don't tolerate is bagging out our own players until they leave the club. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care, and thanks for all your questions. Thanks, Paulie, Burko, Mr. Mark, and Dissident. Nice for you to pop in and say hello. Take care, everyone. Go the Dogs. We must win this game. Let's do it.